Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Under video, and today we're going to do a character guide on Raijin. So, I almost forgot about Raijin, but we got him in. He's going to be coming out after Cisne probably, so I know it's going to seem a little bit later, but I'm recording this on the night that Cisne comes out, but I want to get Cisne's out first, because I think she's going to be the really hype character people are going to want to look at. But don't worry, if you're a Raijin fan, we got it here. So Raijin is a very unique character, and he does some, like, a very unique debuff, which can actually, like, really devastate the enemy. He is a very slow character, but what you can get out of his turns is actually quite a bit. So we're going to talk about him and kind of take a look at his kit here. We'll start with artifacts. He's a pretty generic, like, attack 108, max brave 330. I actually don't have one yet. I haven't, like, done his artifacts a ton yet. But if you can get an attack 108, max brave 330, he's one of those kind of generic characters for that. And then for the spheres... A sphere is just another basic attack one, so just buff attack or brave damage. I just had an extra Onion Knight, so I'm like, sure, he does a crit, I get attack up. There are definitely better ones out there, but I just threw that on because it was extra. The D slot, you want to buff the party's attack. I think Ashe is one of the better ones in the game for that. So I refined a bunch of Ashe ones so that, like, anytime I get a D slot character that there isn't something better to put there, I'll always just throw Ashe on there. And then on the E slot, Raijin is about debuffing, so if you pick an E-slot that is activated when he debuffs, that's pretty good. And then once again, raising attack is also good, so I just put Emperors on. So Emperors just said if I debuff a target, I can raise my attack. So those are the kind of spheres you want to put on Raijin. So let's go ahead and hop into the showcase here and check out how he is doing. Okay, so let's hop in. Once again, Irvine intersecting wills, just very easy to kind of do what I want to do uninterrupted. It's kind of my training dummy stage right now for showcases, so we'll just hop in and do it. Raijin, by the way, his LD weapon actually looks really awesome. It's got like the electric effect on it and everything. It looks really, really cool. It's one of the cooler, because there's been some LDs where it's like, oh, I kind of like the 15 better, or I like the 35 better, but Raijin's LD like stands like well apart from the other weapon designs, so I really, really like that. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's get Freya up in the air just to take care of the orb. This is going to be a pretty common theme for my showcases now. Freya's been just a godsend for that, so very, very good character. Speaking of good characters, Cisne, I mean, by the time this video goes up, my video on Cisne will already be out. But yeah, she's just an abuse follow-up type character, and kind of Freya's the same way, right? Alright, so let's go ahead and just swap right into Raijin and just get him going. Alright. So what we're going to do, Raijin isn't a character where you necessarily have to do things in a specific rotation. He does have things that are situational and you want to put them on at the correct times, right? So he does start with the EX. So typically when characters start with the EX, I kind of like to do that. So what we'll do is let's go ahead and throw down the EX and take a look at the damage we get from the EX here. Should be pretty good damage with the C90. Yeah, that's pretty good damage. And then we got the spear follow-up, right? So basically what the EX does is it gives him a Thunder Peel buff. So you'll see here it's at 2 stacks right here, Thunder Peel. When that gets to 3 stacks, we get a new HP attack. And basically anytime Raijin takes an action, that is going to go up. So let's test that out. So we're going to swap back into Raijin. Okay. The other thing is it does refresh his Thunder Mode buff. So he has a Thunder Mode buff that comes from the EX or from the 35. When he's in Thunder Mode, it just gives him the Fist Plus and the Raijin Special Plus, so it just gives him the plus versions of his 15 and 35, right? So we're at 2 stacks of Thunder Peel. Now, I believe it will go up even if you do an AA or a call, so let's test that. So let's do the AA. Okay, yep, and got a little delay there. Okay, and yep, you can see Thunder Peel is gold. It's not an actual gold frame buff, it's just gold saying that it's maxed. Now that Thunder Peel is maxed, you have Lightning Discharge. So Lightning Discharge is very powerful because it is going to do an AoE Paralyze. So there we go, AoE Paralyze. So that alone is a very cool thing because Paralyze isn't the most common thing, and Paralyze can definitely like shut fights down, right? So having Paralyze is a really, really good thing. But the LD, well here, I've got a turn coming up here after, we got one more turn coming up quick. So let's use the 15 or the 35. So basically, Fist is just very generic. It just does a little battery and does a buff to the party and does some damage, okay? So it's just a good, it's basically like a filler attack, right? So sure, let's just swap in the Raijin again. move her back up. Like, we could just keep dancing with Rem and Raijin and just keep them in front, right? But they are paralyzed, so that's good. So we'll let this go through here. Okay, and then let's look at Raijin Special, which is the 35. That's your main damage attack here, so we'll go ahead and throw that down. So that's going to be his better damaging attack that you want to do there. It did apply a debuff, and what you get with that is you get lightning resist down, which is really, really good, right? Now, the other thing that comes from Thunder Peel that I didn't mention, so you're building the stacks, right? But it also has Lightning Enchant. So you got Lightning Enchant, you got Lightning Apparel, so you've got that really, really good, and then there are some party buffs tied to that as well. All right, let's swap in the Raijin again, and we're going to show the main event here, which is the LD. His LD is just crazy. It's a really, really, really good LD. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop off the... Well, we've got another Discharge, and we got another Pulverize. Like, you can really just shut enemies down with this, right? So, sure, let's use the Raijin Prod here, which is the LD. Now, I'm going to explain what this does. We'll let the enemies go. It's just a 2-turn debuff, right? So they're going to be paralyzed, so they're just going to get shut out here. Raijin is really like a shutdown character. So, like, if you have those really annoying fights where you can't, like, delay turns, the enemies jump turns a lot, whatever, Raijin is a good character to bring because he is, like, going to just shut them down. So let's go ahead and swap into Raijin again. Keep Raijin going. So basically, we let the paralyze off, and now we could discharge and paralyze again. So really, Raijin, it's not about doing things in a certain order. It's just like very conditional and do things when you want to. But I've got another EX again. I've got a discharge. Like, I've got so many things I can do. We haven't used the LD. So let's use the LD. So this is... Or no, I did use it already. Shoot. I was going to explain what the debuff does. So the LD does this 2-turn debuff. You can see we just refreshed it there. But what it does that's really crazy is... it does HP damage taken plus 20%, so the enemies are going to take more HP damage, right? The big thing is, though, is it does attack minus 100% to the enemies. It does HP damage minus 100% to your characters, and the enemies can't inflict debuffs. So basically what that means is while this 2-turn debuff is on, like, literally the enemies can't touch you. Like, you're basically invincible while that's on. So... if the enemies... So this is why Raijin's crazy, because... Let me just go and do this really quick. We'll just hop back in the air here. This is why Raijin's so crazy, is because, one, you're either paralyzing and just taking away the turn, or the in-between turns where you're not paralyzing, you're just shutting down their ability to damage you anyways. So if you play Raijin well, your party is going to be very, very hard to kill. Now, the one thing is there could be enemies that maybe cleanse that frame debuff away, which definitely could cause an issue, right? Let's do a Siphon Delta just for something different here. Okay. So here's what we'll do. We'll try to let the enemies attack and see if they can do any damage, or if they tried to... I don't remember if these enemies, like, debuff or anything crazy. Sure, let's Raijin Pulverizer, because we got to refresh the our buff anyway, so let's do that. So we can start building our stacks up again. Okay, so let's see what these guys do. Okay, so they can still do brave damage. It's just it's HP damage taken down, and their attack is way lower. And then they just missed anyway. So, I don't know. That's basically Raijin, though, very, 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 very quickly. We bring them up again. So I'll just kind of refresh, right? So I recommend using the EX right away, because you get the Thunder Peel right away. And then whatever attacks you're doing, you're building stacks. And then basically you just play it by ear with the fight, right? So if the enemy is aggressive early and you don't have your Paralyze up yet, put down the Raijin Prod and basically take away their attack power, their ability to do HP damage, kind of debuff them to hell, right? And then what you're going to do is then, while they're taking their 2 turns of being debuffed, you're just doing whatever action you want, 15 or 35, just keeping up with buffs. And then basically you can reapply the Paralyze and basically just use Raijin to shut down while your other 2 characters do their thing and take down the Lufenia. So anyways, guys, hope this helps. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you all in the next one.